It's been a while since I recorded a video, and there's a reason for it. I've been dealing with a lot of personal stuff, just in general. Um, this might be a hard video for me to do, mostly because it's going to deal a lot with family stuff. But it's been probably a week or two that I have, without having a conversation with those people, cut people off, mostly my entire family. And it sounds terrible, and I hate that it is going to sound this way, but as I'm on my healing journey, as I'm going through therapy and learning to love myself again and think about my authentic self for the first time in a very, very long time, it's really hard for me to maintain what relationship I had left, mostly with my parents, simply because they just, I don't think they intended to, they just didn't respect me in the most basic, simplest way. The last few years, I don't think that it was intentional. I want to hope in my own heart that it wasn't intentional, the way my parents and how things happened played out. I don't have much of a life. I go to work, I come home, I got my dog, I got my friends, and I have a very small circle of friends. But over the last few years, every time my parents were coming from Jersey or Pennsylvania through Kentucky to go south, they would want to see me, and that's great, and I was down for that, but things would happen and plans would change, and I would just remind my mother that you have to give me more than like 12 hours notice. I have a job, I have animals at the time, and now I just have my dog, but I just needed more than like we're on our way in the morning to like take you out of town for an extended vacation with them, which I would have loved to have had done, except that I would not hear from them until they were getting ready to like leave to come pick me up. And I'd say, no, that's not going to work for me. And that would upset her and make her feel sad. And I would just say, like, I can't just leave on a whim. Can't you just take time off? No, I can't just ask for the day, for like a few days off right then. I have a job. I have responsibilities, period. And so the first year that happened, I was tore all to bits. I was a wreck, thinking I was some terrible child, like I'd done something wrong. And as I've worked through this boundary issue that they seem to, that not my father really, I don't really talk to him. I talk to him through my mother. But it seemed intentional, and now as the years have gone by, it doesn't feel intentional. It feels almost like a forgetfulness on her part. Like she just assumes because we're retired, we just kind of do things at the drop of a hat, that's how everybody lives. I don't even do that with my friends. Like, don't just show up at my house unless we've planned it out, because I'm gonna look at you through the window and be like, no thanks. You see this? Not a lot. No. So it's taken a lot on my part to put a boundary in place. The most recent situation was my mom and my dad were down in Florida with family down there. They were down there from like the beginning of March, middle of March, and they were down there for a long time. And they said, when we come back to go home, we'll come up and we'll, take a few days and we'll stop and we'll see you. And I said, that's great. I need to know well ahead of time. I need you to give me that time. I need you to say, we're leaving on Tuesday, but give me like a week so that I can prepare for it in my own life. Like, I don't know how many times you got to tell someone, like, I got anxiety, I have all these issues, I need to have the time to prepare for that type of stuff. I also said, listen, I've got contractors, at the time I had contractors in and out of my house for about 2 or 3 weeks, and I said, I need to know when that's happening, because I just, I need to know. Yeah, we'll tell you. I didn't hear from my mother the whole time she was down there until the day before they were leaving. And she said, "We're leaving in the morning. We'll be there sometime tomorrow." And I said, "No." It just so happened that I had contractors who were literally cutting holes in my house to put in new windows. They were going to be here. My house is a wreck. I don't have all my furniture. And I said, "That's not going to work for me. I have a job. I have to figure out where I'm going to stay for a day or so because I have contractors." And I told you this. Her response to me a whole day later, because they ended up staying longer anyway, was, "That's okay. We figured you wouldn't make time for us." I mean, I said, so I didn't respond. I didn't respond to that at all. And I let it go. And then I never heard from her again until she had posted on Facebook that they were home. And I thought, okay, cool, that works. And so I've had a boundary anyway with my mother for many years, about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And because she would always say when we talk on the phone, "I miss this. I miss your voice. I miss talking to you." And my silent boundary was this, and it's very clear. I would say, "You can call me anytime you want. You can call me anytime you want. Everybody that I know knows that. You can call me anytime you want. I'm not going to extend it. I'm not going to call. I'm not going to text unless you text me." Because it takes the pressure off of me to maintain a relationship with you that's not fulfilling me in any way. And so I would say that every time we were on the phone, because if she called, I would answer. If I couldn't answer, I would call back. I made that in my own self. I made sure I would do that because if you're going to make a boundary, you got to follow the rule. And the rule of my boundary was, you can call me anytime you want. If I can't answer when you call, if I'm driving, I'm at work, whatever, I will call back as soon as I'm able. But she could call me anytime she wanted. She never did. It was like I was out of sight, out of mind, which I get. I live 9.5 hours from my entire family in either direction. I have family in Florida and up north, and I live in 9.5, 10 hours from all of them. And I haven't been home since I moved back down here to Kentucky since 2012. I have not gone home. I don't intend to. So I didn't hear from her. I saw on Facebook that she was home. Great, they made it home safely. And she proceeded to post about how great of a trip she had staying with family and seeing her number one, as she calls him, which is my oldest brother, and his family and all her new little friends that she made, which is great. She's been miserable since they moved to the shore and retired. I was like, great, she's got little friends now. And then that was it. She hasn't reached out to me since. And so a couple of weeks ago, I thought, I'm trying really hard to be a good person, and I'm trying really hard to not let other people influence how I feel about me. And so I made the choice to go into Facebook, and I'm deleting the Facebook that I've had for a long time, and I'm creating a new one, which will be a completely incognito one, and once I do that, it'll be fine. So I went into Facebook, and I blocked the only two family members other than my brother, who's above me in age. Shout out to my brother. Woo-hoo. I don't think he'll even watch this. But I went into Facebook and I blocked everybody. I went so far as to find other family members who I'm not friends with, and I blocked every family member I could think of that was on Facebook that I could find. And I blocked everybody. I blocked them on Messenger, blocked them on Facebook, blocked them everywhere. And then I blocked my parents' cell phone numbers in my phone because I needed a break. I needed to not be contacted. Not that I get contacted frequently by anybody, but I needed to be free from them being able to reach out to me and hit me with any kind of guilt trip or make me feel like a piece of shit. Because that's what happens is things would happen with us not being able to link up and spend time together while they're traveling. And ultimately, I was the one to be made to feel like I was doing something wrong when they're just not respecting a boundary that I've put in place, which is so strange. Like, boundaries are there to protect everybody. It's for me to not hurt your feelings when I say, no, I can't see you, and for you to understand, like, oh, this is what I have to do in order to see you. That's a simple thing. That's a 1 + 1 = 2 thing. And it just wasn't happening. And I didn't understand. I still don't understand why. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm so far away and I'm so far removed from the family that they just, like, they don't care. And that's okay. I mean, everybody is free to care about what they care about and what they don't care about. But I care about me. And I haven't for a very long time. I have not cared about me and what how I'm perceived and how I just haven't cared about me for a long time. So I'm prioritizing myself in a lot of ways. So blocking everybody and not letting them have access to me allows me time to breathe and either come back to them or not. And I a lot of people say, well, you can't have no contact with your family. And I was like, I have no contact with, like, I don't know, 98% of my family, and I've been okay so far. And I don't like the idea of not having contact with anybody because I don't know if I would know if anything happened. And that's something that my therapist and my doctor were very concerned that if I took this route, that it would be problematic down the road if something were to happen to one of them or anybody in the family, and how I would deal with that. And I think I'm finally at a point where, like, you know, I'll deal with it as it happens. Like, my parents are elderly and not well health-wise, but since COVID, I've had to deal with knowing that if something were to happen to anybody in my family, especially my parents, there's no way I'm getting there. Like, if something happened today and I found out today, I can't get there. I'm getting there for services if I were to go. But yeah, I'm not sad, right? I'm not sad. I get choked up and teared up a little bit because I think that I'm still worried about what people will think of me. And I don't know why. Like, I'm not close to my family, and these people don't add anything to my life, so they not being in my life doesn't really subtract from my life. It's just learning how to deal with the societal pressure of not speaking to your family. Like, there's no reason that you should always talk to your family, especially if some of the things that you remember from your life and your childhood are not positive. And a lot of my memories from my childhood are not positive. And I've tried for years and years to, like, look past that stuff. But as I'm going through therapy and talking with these people, these professionals who are helping me sort through my memories and healing from these things, I'm learning that it's okay to be a little angry and to be a little selfish. And I hate it, but at the same time, you know, the only person I have to live with for the rest of my life is me. And if living with myself means that I don't have a relationship with the majority of my family, I think I'm okay with that, because it means that I'm going to be stronger and stand on my own 2 feet. And I really thought I'd get through this without getting choked up. But apparently, I haven't. It's okay, though. So yeah, I mean, the ultimate thing is that I've taken a step back from the minuscule amount of time I spend interacting with actual family, except for my older brother. Like I said, he and I, we didn't have a relationship for a very long time. And I was forbidden from even asking about that situation for years and years and years. And up until about 2 or 3 years ago, I didn't know the full scope of that situation. And once I found that out, it kind of opened my eyes. And that was prior to, or just when I had started therapy, maybe, or I think it was just before I got into therapy. So it's been a subject that I've talked about in therapy over the years, and with him, and we've discussed things, and you know, family's tricky, and I live in an area where people live, like my best friend. lives in this little holler with all her family. And sometimes it hurts when I spend time with her family around holidays and stuff, because I'm like, man, people have this all the time. I know that not all families are perfect. I know that. I'm not stupid. But it's hard sometimes being on your own, because I feel like I've been on my own for a very long time. The last time I actually saw my parents in person was probably like a year and a half, 2 years ago. I didn't even know they were coming. They just showed up at my house on a Sunday at like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the evening. And I was surprised that they were here. And then they got mad because the only thing I was able to do, because it was a Sunday, I had to work the next day. I could have called in, but I can't just call in because you show up in my driveway. Like, what kind of a jerk-off employee would I be? And I was kind of like, what? And they were like, yeah, we thought we'd surprise you. And I'm like, I don't even have anywhere for you to I don't have anything. Like, at the time, I literally didn't even have furniture. And so that's what I deal with them. And it's very frustrating. And I get really frustrated because I think it's me. It's my fault. I've done something that I'm not appealing as a child or something. And which is weird because I'm 46 years old. Like, I know I'm their child, but like at the same time I feel like this forgotten piece of them. The only time that my mother reached out to me was earlier this month before I blocked her, and it was on the 20th of May is when she texted me in a group chat with my siblings, and I only know that it was my siblings because there was only one number I knew in that, and that's my older brother, and the other three numbers were my other siblings. And she said, remember, tomorrow's Daddy's birthday. I didn't forget that it's his birthday, but I also remember that back on my birthday, I didn't get a phone call. I didn't get a text message. I didn't get anything, which is unfortunate considering my birthday's 5 days after hers, and I made it a point to call her and sing to her on her birthday. I was the first person, I think, that called her that morning, and then nothing. I didn't get anything. I didn't get a phone call. I didn't get a card in the mail. Nothing. And I mean, it's weird to be celebrated. Like, congratulations, someone gave birth to you. I think it's a little weird, but whatever. But that's the society we live in. But here I am, and I had to wrestle with this. I also did not reach out to her on Mother's Day, which made me feel terrible. And then I didn't go to my friends for any kind of a Mother Day celebration with her family because I was like, you're a piece of shit. You can't do that. I just think a lot of the guilt hopefully will dissipate and I can take the break I need and figure out me. Even if that means I'm a voluntary orphan at the time, because I think sorry, I didn't mean to smack my lips like that. That's rude. I think that it's important for me to really figure out who I am, because at 46 I really don't. And I think that my family holds me back, as little as they are actually involved in my life. I think that I need time to really figure out me before I can even entertain the idea of having them back in my life. And so, yeah, that's a really long-winded way of me saying sometimes your family doesn't need to be in your life, even if it's just for a short time. And sometimes you don't have to tell them that they're not allowed to be in your life. You can just not have them in your life. And they'll either be okay with that in the end or they won't. And that's their choice, I think. Because we all have free will, right? I have the choice whether or not I tell someone if they can be a part of my life or not. As much as it might hurt me and them, nobody has the God-given right to have access to you at all times, and especially if it's damaging to you mentally. And even if it hurts, it's okay. So that's where I'm at right now. That's what I've been dealing with for the last couple of weeks, is learning to manage myself and manage my emotions and my growth as a person right now. And that requires taking away external things that hurt. So I guess that's all I have on this. I may do a follow-up on this because there's a lot more that goes into why I have chosen to step away from my family. If you made it this long, congratulations. Please don't drag me in the comments about crying on camera. I can't help it. I'm an emotional person. But that's all I got. That's what I got right now. Take care of yourselves. Always put yourself first.